Hi, everyone, and welcome to Faith in an Ever-Changing World, Encouragement and Hope. I'm Janet Harley, and today I have Candidas Sullivan. She's an award-winning author, inspirational speaker, newspaper columnist, and certified life coach. Candida was born with a rare condition called Amnionic Band Syndrome, which affects her limbs and causes challenges in her life. Candida loves to share her stories of how God turns her heartaches into blessings and how he helps her have an overcomer mindset. Thank you for joining me today, Candida.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Yes, and thank you for wanting to share your faith story. And I'm looking forward to this one. If you will, go ahead and share your faith story.
Okay, thank you. So as you mentioned earlier, I was born with Amnionic Band Syndrome. It's a rare condition. It affects my hands, my feet, and my right arm. And most babies, when they have this condition, they die. They don't even make it. So the fact that God blessed me to live is just a miracle in itself. And so when I was little, my parents took me to a surgeon to see if maybe there was something that they could do to help me, because they knew that I was going to have challenges in my life. And as parents, they just wanted to prevent as much of that as possible. So they took me to a surgeon, and the odds were just not in my favor at all. So he told them that he just did not recommend surgery for me at all. If he cut the nerves wrong, then it could just totally take away the use of my hands. And he told my parents, as it is, she can use her hands. So I just would not do surgery. And then he talked to them about a special gift that he thought maybe I would have later on in my life. He said he had seen that so many times. When you're challenged in one way, then God comes through and blesses you in other ways.
Right.
And so my parents just kind of held on to that hope, and that helped them. But I didn't really feel like I was a gift, because I went to school and children made fun of me. And there was times that I didn't get to do my handprints in kindergarten. And there were so many little things that just come up, and nobody wants to be different. I just wanted to be normal. I just wanted to be like everybody else. And so that was really hard. And so every night when I was a little girl, I prayed that God would heal me. I knew that he could. I believed wholeheartedly when I went to sleep that he would heal me. And so every night I just said that prayer. And when I woke up every morning, I jerked my hands out from underneath the cover, expecting that that was going to be the day that he healed me. And every morning I was so disappointed. And I could not understand why God would do that to me, why he wouldn't answer my prayer. And I couldn't understand why he would allow me to be this way, because I knew that he could have even prevented me from being scarred in the first place. So it was a lot to deal with. As I got older, I started wondering about that gift that my parents had talked about, the doctor had talked about. And so I started praying about it, that if God did have something for me to do, that he would just reveal that to me. And so he did. And he gave me the gift to write, and to write about my story and share my struggles and to help other people. And I was just so thankful for something. It was just like an answered prayer to know that there is a purpose for this pain. And so I began to write as often as I could. I had 2 small children at the time, but just I would write on my lunch breaks at work. Just whenever I had an opportunity, I would just write. And so I finished a few manuscripts, and I started sending them out into the publishing world. And they started coming back to me rejected. And that was so painful, to open your heart, share this story, and then it be rejected. And so there was one rejection letter in particular that broke my heart. And they actually took the time to write out. And they said my story did not have the ability to touch anyone's heart. And I was devastated, because I felt like that wasn't just saying we don't want to publish your book. That was saying that the gift that God had given me was not going to work. And it was just, it broke my heart. And I remember I called my husband at work, and I was crying, and I said, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to do this anymore. I don't know why God has given me this, and then I can't do anything with it. So God put it on my heart to write a blog. And I thought, I'm just going to write this blog. I'm going to put it out there. these words of my heart. Anybody that wants to read it, it'll be there, and I'm just going to do that. And it was so hard. I remember the first time I hit that publish button. It was just so hard because I didn't know how other people would receive me.
Yeah.
And it was overwhelming at all of the stories, because my whole life I felt like I was different and that nobody was like me. But when I would write these stories, so many people would say, me too. I've experienced those same feelings. I've experienced this same kind of pain. And so it just opened up a whole new world to me. I was in severe pain at the time. I wasn't able to work while all of this was going on. My condition had just gotten so much worse. And so it kept me going every week to just publish that blog. And so I had went to the doctor, and they had told me that I was not going to get better. I was as good as I would ever be, and that they would keep me comfortable with pain medication. And I remember coming home and being so devastated. And I climbed in the bed and I pulled the covers up, and I thought, God, what are we going to do now? And I could just remember lying there just crying and just begging him to help me. And it was a few days later, I was waiting in the line to pick up my children from school. And I got a message, and it was from a publisher. And they had been reading my blog, and they asked if I'd like to write books for them. And so God just showed me that he will make a way when there is no way. We just have to continue going. And it was just such a blessing to me. Not only did I have one book, but I had 2 books come out on the same day. And it just showed, I mean, he opened the floodgates, and he just blessed me so much. He brought so many amazing people into my life that just poured into me and just helped me with this dream. And so in the next 5 years or 4 years, we did 5 books. One of my Zippy series was turned into a play. I did over 100 speaking visits. It was just, I mean, he just blessed me so great. And then
Awesome.
Through all of this, my dreams were coming true. God was using me. And I remember the first time that there was people in the audience, and I was speaking, and I connected with them. And when a little boy in a wheelchair raised his hand and said, "You give me hope for my own life," those are the moments that you can't put a price on. And God showed me so often with every visit why we were doing this, why he made me the way that he made me, how he was going to use it. And it was just such a beautiful gift. But I was working so hard. I had a full-time job. I had 2 kids. And I was doing all these books and all these school visits and all these speaking engagements. And my health just really declined. And I woke up one morning and I could barely walk.
Oh my.
And it was devastating, because you come to this place of, I've worked so hard. I have my whole life ahead of me. And the doctors are telling me that I'm not getting any better. It's only getting worse. And if I continue on the path I'm on, then I won't be able to walk, and I won't be able to get out of bed. And I can just remember there's that moment when you have to choose. What are you going to do? Are you going to give up everything that you've worked for, all of your hopes, all of your dreams, or are you going to step out in faith and just trust the Lord to do whatever it is that he's going to do? And I battled with that. And some of my family was even telling me, we hate seeing you suffer. And we think maybe it is time for you to stop all of this. And I would just take it to the Lord, and tears would just come so often. And I remember thinking, okay, if this is the end, he will put me in that bed and I won't be able to get out. But while I'm able to put one foot in front of the other, we're going to keep going. We're going to see where he's going to take me. We're going to see what he's going to do. And he helped me with diet, and he used exercise and supplements, and he used chiropractors and massage therapists and all of these. I had a whole team of people that worked on me to keep me going. And I kept believing that he was going to do something, that he was going to do something in some way. And so I had used exercise as a way to help with the pain. And I came home from work one evening and I was in severe pain, and I was shuffling to the left and I fell. And I was already at the point of I could barely sleep. I was in so much pain. And when I fell, I immediately felt this stabbing pain in my elbow.
Oh,
And
man.
I'm lying on the floor and I'm thinking, God, where were you? Why didn't you catch me? Why did you let me fall? Life is already like I'm doing the best I can. I'm following you. I'm speaking. I'm writing. I'm doing all these things. And here I am. And so I went to the doctor. We had x-rays. They didn't really show anything wrong, but I just continued to get worse. And I was in so much pain. I couldn't sleep. And I was allergic to pain medication. So I wasn't able to take anything even to help me through it all.
Ooh.
And it was just so overwhelming. And I learned during this time, sometimes it gets worse before it gets better. And we just have to continue on. And I would lay awake at night and I would pray and I would just beg him to help me in some way. I just had all of these hopes and dreams. And the wonderful thing about God is, even when he takes you through these trials that seem so hard that you don't think you're going to make it through them, he gives you little glimpses of where you're going, and he helps you to get through it. So I was lying in bed one night and just so much pain, and he showed me, it was like a movie, all of these faces of people that I had helped and these things that we were going to do. And he just gave me the hope to just keep going, keep moving forward.
Yes.
And so after about 2 months of dealing with the pain, I went to my doctor and asked him to send me to a specialist. And I really expected the doctor to tell me this is just something else I'm going to have to learn to live with. Because every time I would go to the doctor, they wouldn't even try to help me. They would just tell me it was Amnionic Band Syndrome. There was nothing they could do, and I would only get worse. That they could keep me comfortable with pain medicine, but that was it.
Oh.
And so that's kind of what I was expecting. But before I left for the doctor, I prayed. And I asked God to let the doctor have compassion on me. Yeah. And when I got there, the elbow specialist that they sent me to was also a hand specialist. So my elbow was fine. Even after I had done all this pain, he told me it was fractured in the beginning, but it had healed nicely. There was nothing else that could be done. It was going to heal just fine. Elbow injuries just take a while to heal. But he sat down and he took my hand and he said, "How can I help you? What else is going on?" And so I told him how my hands hurt and how they caused so much pain in my life. And so he asked to see them. He took pictures. He sent me for x-rays. And as I'm sitting there, he said, "I think I can fix your hands if you want me to." Ooh. And my whole life, doctor after doctor had told me nothing could be done to help me. And this one doctor is offering me this hope.
Oh.
And as I'm sitting there, because you think if you've had so many people tell you it won't work,
right,
and then you have one that says maybe it will, who do you believe? What do you do? And God took me back to that moment of when I was a little girl and I prayed. Yeah. And he reminded me of that moment. This is what he was going to do. This is how he had purposed that he was going to answer this prayer all along.
That's wonderful.
I fell, and the elbow injury got me to the doctor that would help me. And so he told me going into it that there was no guarantees. He didn't know if it would work. He didn't know if the nerves would heal back. He had to take part of my hand off so that I could have the thumb. But there was a possibility that it would work. Wow. And I clung to that hope that maybe it would work. And I knew going into it, if he messed up, if he did something wrong, that I might not ever be able to use that hand again. But I also knew that maybe, just maybe, that God was going to move in a mighty way.
Right.
And so we scheduled the surgery, and I would just be sitting around with my family, and the tears would just pour, and I would say, "I'm getting a thumb. I am getting a thumb on my left hand." I never had a thumb on my left hand.
Praise God, yes.
Yeah, and it was just such a blessing from the very beginning. And he showed me, why we went through all of this. And so it was a blessing. I had the surgery. I wasn't able to take pain medication, so it was all very painful afterwards. I went through 2 weeks. It was just awful. But I just let that hope just carry me through it all. Because I knew this time when they took my hand out of the bandage that I had a thumb. And that was just, I can't talk about it even without crying now, because when you pray for something for 30 something years. And then God, he doesn't forget. That's what I had maybe forgot about all those prayers, but he did not forget about me. And so we went in for surgery. I had it. They took the bandages off afterwards. It was devastating to see my hands stitched together. And I felt guilty for the part that I gave up so that I could even get a thumb. There was just so many emotions throughout the whole process. But I came home and my thumb wouldn't work. I went through all the pain and it did not work. And I was devastated. And I would sit at the table and just cry.
Yeah.
And so I remember sitting there one day and I was like, God, you have brought me to this moment. And I know that you're not going to leave me now. Show me how to make this thumb work. And I sat there and I cried and I prayed and I just willed it with my mind to work. And it moved. And that was one of the greatest blessings because it moved just a little bit. But I knew if I could move it a little bit, then I could learn to use it. And so I would work it until complete failure. And then I would let it rest and we would do it all over again. And I was just so thankful because it opened up so many things for me. I'm able to drive with my left hand. I'd never been able to open a door before, and I could open a door. It was just like having a new toy. You just don't know what all it's going to do.
Wow.
And so having the thumb and learning to use it, and it was a year's process. I mean, it took a long time for me to be able to train it. And to this day, I can't feel my hand, but I can make it work. And that's the thing of it. The nerves, if I'm chopping up vegetables or something, I have to pay attention because I will cut my hand because I don't really feel it like that. But I can still use it. And that's the thing. God can even take our brokenness and he can use it.
Yes.
And so he's blessed me. And so being able to use my left hand freed up my right hand, and the pain that I lived with all my life is gone now. And so I don't have to live every day in this excruciating pain. And it's just such a blessing. He makes a way.
God. Yes.
When there is no way. And if I could just tell anybody that today, that's what I would say, because he made a way for me when there wasn't a way.
And brought you through all the pain, the long journey of what all you have been through. Oh, and he is still good and faithful.
Yes, he is.
Yes, he is. Oh, Candida, thank you for sharing your faith story with us. And I know it's going to be an encouragement. You've certainly encouraged me. And I'm sure there's going to be someone watching that's going to be able to relate to you and to identify and be blessed and encouraged. Thank you.
It was my pleasure.
And thank you all for watching Faith Story. Have faith and look up, friends, where our help comes from. Bye. God bless.